Episode 508 is titled Famous Last Words.
I think this is one of those episodes, if you've just watched it, please take a breath and then rewatch it again. There's so much in it. You may miss something if you just let your emotions run away and you go, why did they do something? What we talked about is we wanted to get into Roger's head, and we wanted to have a device to get into Roger's head that was cinematic. And what we chose to do is this silent picture to show his trauma. And we were all nervous. Talked to the director, once again, Stephen Wolfenton directed this. We want you to film it in a silent picture way, but we also want you to film it, in a more conventional way, just in case. When I first saw the cut, I was like, we don't need the conventional way because this is fantastic. Richard had to really dig in because as the result of being hanged, he doesn't have a voice. And although he's physically okay, he is emotionally so damaged by it. How we start the episode, though, was very important, that we wanted to show Roger, this is one of those flashbacks, seeing a person in his own time, but also using his gift. His gift is his voice.
People live and die by their words.
When you have the one thing that you think you're gifted taken away, who are you? That's the story of this episode for Roger.
It's like he's drowning in silence. And he has that same 1,000-yard stare in his eyes.
Brianna, in turn, is suffering because she's not sure she'll ever have Roger back, and what does that mean for her? And she's also had her own trauma that she's had to deal with, and it was interesting to kind of see how they both dealt with it in their own way and trying to get to each other and what pulls them ultimately both out.
We show that Brianna has done everything in her power to be patient, but there's a moment where you have to make that decision. Is it tough love time?
Right.
Brianna has to say, you need to let us help you and get out of it.
You're still the man I married, and I want him back. Please.
And then Roger goes on his journey, and then we also wanted to show throughout this silent picture of what brings him out. And once he's clear in his thoughts and clear in his mind, when this movie kind of trickles over into a contemporary, color film, he realizes the one thing that's clear in his mind is Brianna and his love for Brianna. It was, I think, cinematic.
Yeah, and it's definitely outside the box for something we normally do, but also bringing back young Ian early, which also is a nice parallel to what Roger's going through. What young Ian is struggling with, we don't know specifically, and we've kind of held off fully diving into that.
But they're two lost souls, and putting them together to kind of help mend each other was something that we discussed a lot. And young Ian is very stoic and reserved and not talkative, so the worry was, hey, we're getting these guys out in the wilderness not talking to each other, what are those scenes going to be like? But the dynamic between the two of them really, I think, just shines.
But also these two men are bonded for life anyway. Just from last season, having seen one kind of sacrifice himself for the other, so that bond is something that hopefully will carry on.